Good evening. Good evening. It's not even evening, it's morning. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. There you go. I'll get it right. I'll get it right. Welcome everybody, and thank you for joining me. There you go. Hello. Hello, lovely ladies. Hello, lovely ladies, and welcome everybody. Yeah, what? It's what, Wednesday. Had to look at it. Oh, it's my brother's birthday. It's March 13th. So happy birthday, Jimmy, wherever you are. Back east, sending you lots of happiness for you today. Whew, man, it is cold today. I am sorry. It is. I don't care if it's -1. It is freaking cold. There was like this white stuff coming down again, and I am so over it. I am so over it. We have spring equinox happening next Tuesday, and I am more than ready for the warmth. More than ready to have something really um really nice. So I have my shawl on. I'm all cuddled up in it, and the heat is on. All cuddled up. It is, yeah, so it's just one of those days, right? You're just waiting for the sun to come out and to warm the cockles, right? Of of the world around us. In the astrology, it's pretty good. I mean, the moon is in Taurus and it's exalted. Venus is exalted in Pisces. And it is, I mean, it's bringing in some very glorious, beautiful energies there and wanting us to strive ahead. The one part, with Neptune and all of the outer planets coming to either into the last decade where Uranus will be entering into 20 degrees. And once he goes into there, he's not going to go back into the teens again. He'll be done with the teens. And even with Pluto will be retrograding back to 29 degrees of Capricorn in September. We have these outer planets at the end of these degrees, and this is where it can cause, I'm going to say, hysteria. This is when it can cause disruptions. And I'm going to call it disruptions of the soul, because everything is at the outer reaches and we feel everything is at the outer reaches. We have the alignments of the above and the planets above aligning up so that they're coming together in some beautiful ways. And so the heavens, we can say the heavens or the universe are coming together in such beautiful magical ways, where here on earth, as above so below, our connections, our ways of coming together are distorted, out of alignment, feeling all over the place. The Oscars, just listening to the critiques of the Oscars, I mean, they're getting blasted on every single front there is because of they're just so fucking stupid. And I saw on the stage, there was on the stage, I just saw with Jimmy Dumbhead there. I don't like him. I just don't like him. I know some of you might like him, but he just irks me the wrong way. A lot of these night guys that are doing their things, they're just, anyways. There's the statue of the Oscars, right? Which is, the enchilante of Hollywood to receive an Oscar. Yet they had these beautiful flowers all around. And I'm like, what are they trying to idolize? And that's the first thing I got, idolize. And what I thought, and then lo and behold, what comes across is a beautiful Buddha picture with beautiful flowers, you know, these beautiful, beautiful flowers. And I'm just like, wow, there's a shrine to Buddha who wants to bring in peace, contentment, wants you to align with your heart chakra, wants you to be in a place where you are able to come into a place of discernment and reverence. And then on the stage is this Oscar where they are trying to make it this, you know, idyllic and ideal thing. And it's of course it's a reward for a job well done. Um, Robert Downey Jr. always had an ego. Just saying. I mean, come on. Robert, I like Robert because Robert is who he is. Jimmy Kimmel is an ass. He will suck ass to whoever he wants to suck ass. Robert Downey Jr., I mean, his dad, Robert Downing Sr., I mean, total drug addict and everything, introduced his child to drugs, alcohol. Um you're you know, he's just got yeah, he's got a charisma. He is who he is. He's a little bit, he's one of those idealistic guys. Um but yeah, I mean, I can see how you would Robert Downing Jr. Let me look up something here. Natal. This is how I go by things. I go by their natal chart. I don't go by anything else. So I go into their natal chart and what's going on. So he's an Aries. He's an Aries with a Taurus moon. Oh, of course. Of course he's an ass. Of course he's ass with a Taurus moon, conjunct with Jupiter. Yeah, he likes the finer things in life. He ain't gonna let that go, that's for sure. And with an Aries moon with Mercury and Venus. Oh, yeah, he's going to show off his armor and his sexiness and voice what he needs to say, and not not shut up about it. That's for sure. But and then his north node is in Gemini, so south node is in, and so he's got that striving to be able to be heard, to be seen, to know things. So his mind goes very quickly. Um, Saturn in Pisces. Well, he's going to be going through a Saturn return coming up here quite shortly. So he's got that Saturn return that's going to be coming up for him because he's got his Saturn in Pisces. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, definitely Aries. His ascendant's in Leo. So having yeah, having an ascendant first house Leo, like, here I am, baby. This is who I am. This is what I'm gonna do. Like me or not. I don't It's basically, it doesn't give a shit. Um, but with that Aries energy, yeah, he's gonna say and be and do who he wants. He's gonna step forward in who he wants. It's in the ninth house, so it's ruled by Sagittarius. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, and then his sun having a where's his Jupiter? Yes, his Jupiter being there. In Jupiter, yeah, it's Jupiter and Moon in the 10th house. So whatever he does, whatever he wants to do, especially when it comes to his career, it's going to be the top of the enchilada of his career, of what he wants to do with it, with the Moon and Taurus in the 10th house. And a Leo rising, that means I'm going to be the show person I need to be. I'm going to rise to that occasion. And through him rising has caused a lot of misunderstanding in the ways that he does things, and there is a misconnection with him and his mother, and of how he wants to have a connection with that of mother, of the feminine, and being in a disillusioned way, because here comes Saturn. And that's the whole thing about today, with Saturn being in Pisces. It's basically letting Neptune know, or letting you know that you can't get away with what you think you can get away. Saturn, even though it doesn't like the, his dad being in there. Saturn doesn't like to be in Pisces. Neptune doesn't like to have his dad there. But then comes restriction, comes, if you're going to do what you're going to do, you better do it the right way, and you better do it within your spiritual self. You better not mess around. And that's where you might see, things go astray. Now, Robert going through his Saturn return, yeah, he's going to see some things that aren't, challenges in his life. And it could happen to do with drugs and alcohol again, and escapism. So some form of escapism. And as I said that, and it's funny because I was looking at his at him winning it. And it's just where he's, he went on a whole spiritual journey and everything after becoming clean and sober. But the thing is that we never know exactly what goes on in behind the scenes. They might be, and I kept on saying there's something to do with drugs or something that's coming up. So with him, there could be something that is unforeseen that's going to be happening when it comes to the drugs and alcohol, because that is his, that taunts him. That's the escapism, and that's the escapism that's coming in right now, or people, the dark side of Neptune is the madness, is the psychotic, is where you can really go into some deep and darkness, right? And Pluto brings up the things that need to change, or the things that are causing the chaos, and Neptune can really take that cause and bring it to the extremes of things. So this is where you could see psychotic episodes happening with people, and breakdowns happening with people, or people not. The thing is that people, especially with Saturn being there and where the energies are coming to lie, it is a spiritual calling. I mean, just even looking at his chart, there's a huge spiritual calling of being that spiritual person. So when he went on that spiritual journey, like, he really, there was something profound that's there. But that Taurus moon, that energy of, it's got to look good. Am I looking good? Am I out there in front? Am I doing it right? The challenges that face that person, definitely, of having to stick to the path. And having to stick to the path is a very can be very difficult. It can be very challenging, and the challenges of having the restrictions with a Saturn in Pisces is saying, I don't want to have those restrictions. I don't want to go with what you are saying. I want to do it differently. I don't want to do it like everybody else is telling me to do it. Yet there is that challenge of, if you are going to be ascending to be the center, to be that person, because you know that's one of the things. Like, you have a rising Leo, you're going there's something about a Leo rising, is that I need to step into the light. I need to step in to the direction I have to go into. And sometimes with rising Leos can be very difficult to deal with, because one, they can be outspoken. Two, they can be very male chauvinistic. We're chauvinistic and very stubborn and very, look at me, aren't I beautiful? And that I can see can rub Dana the wrong way. Because that's definitely Robert Downey Jr. Another person that probably could rub you the wrong way, and I can see it, is, the person like the Leo King, double Leo, and even Kate Pacha can rub people the wrong way, because people either think that he's really out to lunch or something, but he's another one who's a double Leo. And they just have this flair. They just have this way of being, which is very, very snooty, very thinking that I am the be all end all of the world. And it can get people where they are just like, fuck you, kind of thing to them. Like, you ain't the be all end all, fucker, and but then there's the people that will come in and say, look at the shit I've done. So you know what? I've made my success. I've made my mark. I've done what it is that I need. You know, that's that's that Leo. And with an Aries, that means that he's had with the drive to go out there and be in front, and be that front person. And especially in the ninth house. So here I am. I'm going to be that front. I'm going to do it. I'm going to see things through. And in Sagittarius, I'm going to make sure that I am moving in the direction I need to move into, and being able to pop from place to place to place to place. He is, that Sag energy is like that movable energy. It's that I need to see things. I need to travel. I need to connect. What is that connection with that of others? So very interesting. I never looked at his chart before. That's the very first time I ever looked at his chart. So thank you, Dana. Love it. pulling up people's charts and taking a little peek at it. But that's the thing. It's like when just in looking at the energies for today and how how the whole makeup is of today, it is of of moving forward, of being that person. Now, the challenge that people are going to be having is making a practice every single day, and that's the challenge, because this is what when it comes with your spiritual practice. And a lot of people will shove it off and say, whatever, I do my prayers, whenever I feel like. And that's not what Saturn coming in Pisces is trying to get us to do. It's like, no, making a commitment at a time each and every day. For me, I have to get up early. If I don't get up early, it really throws me off. And I know for me, it's because I can do my prayers, I can get my coffee. And the other thing that throws me off, if my house isn't clean or if my kitchen is not cleaned in the morning, I have to clean it before I do anything else. It has to be cleaned up. So I make sure that I do that the night before. I make sure that everything's put away, everything's ready for me to make the coffee in the morning and do that. Then once I do that and get myself, and I don't even, before I even hit the kitchen, I'm makeup ready, which sounds crazy. And I know a lot of people are like, no, I just go in, get myself. No, it is all part of that routine that I've set up for myself because it allows me to be, yeah, I'm ready to go. Whatever happens, I'm ready to connect with whatever happens. And to me, it's okay, Lexi. We still love you. If I'm not prepared, and this is the way that I do things, then it can throw me off. So being prepared, being ready to connect with the day is important. And in that connection helps me to be grounded and focused in the directions that I need to go into. And having prayer time, meditation time, journaling time is important, and you have to. And I'm going to stress this, and I know a lot of you are going to say, well, I don't have time in the morning, I don't have this in the morning, or it's too difficult for me, or I'm always tired. You can make time for everything else, and that's where this is coming in with Saturn and Pisces. You can make for whatever else. Like, you can make excuses and do everything else that you want to do, but when it comes to your spiritual self and your soul, you're saying you can't make time for it. So when about a month or so ago, I said, what are you putting on your altar? Because whatever you put on your altar, that is what it is. When you saw the Oscar, what are they putting on on their altar? They're putting the Oscar on their altar. That's what they're idolizing. They're idolizing that world. That's the meaningful thing. That's what my soul is attracted to. My attraction is to that idol, what the Oscar represents. It represents fame, money, the Hollywood socialite life. So it's like when you start looking at, well, what am I putting on my altar? What am I doing to bring in a routine that is spiritual and making that commitment? And my challenge to you is over the next 30 days is making a commitment to what it is that you bring forth spiritually. What does that look like? That could be bringing in the prayer beads, your mantras, your journal, whatever that looks like. It could be listening to a special um, motivational speaker each and every day in order to get yourself going. It's a prayer that you say each and every day. It could be that you're reading holy books, whatever they are, and bringing in those holy books so that you are having something to connect to. And that's what Saturn is. Saturn is wanting to bring in that structure, right? And having that structure is very important. I have a real bird's nest and some branches and some fairies. Okay. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. But how is that connecting you to your spiritual, like, it's one thing, and just being the devil's advocate. It's making it real. Like, yes, I know people like, well, I go for a walk in nature and I connect with nature. What Saturn is saying, Saturn will say, yeah, that's beautiful and that's nice, but making it real. Making it real, that means that you are making a commitment and sitting there and saying, this is what I am doing. I'm connecting with my God, my goddess. I'm lighting my candle, I'm lighting my incense, and I'm saying my devotion to that. And making it, like Lexi's saying, a new routine. She's starting up a new routine. That's where the commitment is. We can put beautiful, like I got some beautiful things, all over the place at, different little altars and that. But making a commitment to it where I sit in front of the altar, where I say prayers in front of my altar. That's where Saturn comes in. That's what's going to get us through the challenges that are going to be coming forth over this next year and the year after that and going forward. That's where it is. And Saturn being in there for the next 2025? Yeah, till 2025 is where we have to learn to make the commitment. And especially with Neptune there. And Neptune will take us into the other side and sort of, because the thing is with Neptune, if you look into what Neptune represents, he represents the spiritual side, but he doesn't like the restraints. Because Neptune is the rapist. Neptune is the one who goes out and parties and does whatever he wants because he has no restrictions. When you have no restrictions, when you don't put the restrictions on yourself, then you are allowing yourself to go out and eat and do and whatever. And I don't have, I can do whatever I want whenever I want. In saying that, and what happens is that we take a look at like, well, what is happening in our life? How are you creating the abundance in your life? How are you maintaining that of what it is that you want to have in your life? And if you don't have some form of rules, if you don't have some form of boundaries, then everything goes out of balance. But they do like restrictions. I'll argue with you at that on that part. You are a fixed sign. You do have restrictions. You do. You like the way the things are. You have your boundaries. Same with Taurus, same with Aquarius, same with Scorpio. They are fixed signs. You're not going to move them to what they don't want to do. They have their restrictions and they have their boundaries. And that's the thing. The thing is that when Saturn's coming in, especially in Pisces, is saying that now I want you to start creating a spiritual habit for yourself. But for whatever reason, you want to fight it. But Saturn, remember, is the one that says, okay, if you don't want to, well, this is what's going to happen. Because Saturn is the one that says, okay, this is what's going to happen. If you're not doing this, this is what's going to happen. It's like somebody who's a diabetic. If you don't change your diet, this is what's going to happen. Right? And these are the consequences. But when you start to change the diet, when you start to embrace that, you start to feel better. You start to feel more energetic. You're not so tired. Your limbs don't hurt. Things aren't swelling because you're taking the restrictions that are needed in order to create a better way of living. In the spiritual world, in the soulful world, it's coming in where with Venus is there too, and she's exalted and she wants to bring in all the beauty and all the glamour and all the greatness. Like her and Neptune can go out on a rave and have a fabuloso time because they have no restrictions. But Saturn being there, he's saying, I am here to teach you the restrictions that you are needed at this time. And this is what needs to be done. If you're not going to do it, if you're not, that's on you. That's not on anybody else. And then when things go crazy, or when because you feel you can control everything, you can do everything. Okay, this is Saturn and Pisces, right? I'm just talking to you about the astrology. That's it. Saturn and Pisces is like, okay, go for it. I want to see you go ahead without your spiritual balance. I want to see what you do without your prayers and without your connection to that of your divine. You don't believe in it? Okay. Cool. Let's see what happens. Let's see what unfolds in your life. And that's what Saturn's doing. And Saturn's pushing it forward. And we're going to be feeling it for the next year of saying, I'm giving you a year to get your spiritual house in order. Because if your spiritual house is not in order in the next year, this is the next step that's coming forward. And it's not fun if you're not having that spiritual self. And that's meaning making your affirmations, doing your gratitudes, writing them down, doing them every single day. Bringing in your prayer beads, bringing in your prayer books every single day. And I'm not, this could be something that you do and I set aside every day for 5 minutes, 15 minutes. This is what I'm doing. I'm doing this mantras. Most mantras are going to take you less than 15 minutes if you're worried about the time. How is that going to change my vibration? Well, it does. It begins to change your vibrations within the first 40 days. 180 days, it starts to change the vibrations in your outer world and how you connect and how people connect with you. And they begin to see it. A lot of times when you start a very soulful journey and you start to really connect with that of your divine, your universe, your source, and you're handing it over to them to help to guide you, people start to see a totally different energetic body within you. And they even like, oh, did you get your hair done? Did you get new glasses? Did you lose weight? What's going on with you? And it's basically, you've just made a choice, a difference, a new direction. And you start to see opportunities opening up for you. And it's not an easy one, a lot of times when you're looking at all of this and you're saying, hey, I got rent to pay, Mary, I got all of this to do. And I'm like, yeah, I got rent to pay. I got bills to pay. I'm on an extremely limited budget and it's going to get worse, but you know what? I could change that around. I could say, is it going to get worse or am I going to embrace and I'm just going to give it over because I don't know. I just made an assumption to something that may happen in the future or may not happen in the future. But if I'm going with that premises that it's going to happen in the future, of course it's going to happen in the future. But if I go, it's like I'm open to opportunities. I'm open to new ways. There's a back, I think it was when the potato famine hit, Ireland, and that's when they were exporting all of their food off of the island and wasn't leaving anything for the people. And then, the potatoes became, when they get the black spot on them and they weren't any good anymore. And many people left Ireland, and that was in what, 18 I'd say before World War One, that they were leaving, and then even after World War One, a lot of them left because there wasn't anything there. But, because of the corporations and stuff of making money, everything was shipped off of Ireland, and nobody was, reconnecting with the land. And there is a spot in Ireland, and it has this beautiful, it's not an elm tree. Oh, shit, Mary. Have the story before you start saying it, just popped in my head. But, the tree's over 500 years old, a yew tree, a beautiful yew tree. And it's in this one area in a park. It's still there in Ireland. And the the tree is a connection to the fairies. And one of the farmers who didn't leave and, stayed because he was wanted to keep with his land, and his daughter was, he already lost his wife. He lost, his other children, and he only had his daughter left, and became very bitter and angry over it all and blaming everybody else for it and blaming you know, everyone else for the troubles that they had. And the yew tree is quite close to his property. And he felt that he had to chop it down because he was going to use some more of the land. And as he got to the tree, he felt very overwhelmed by the tree and the massiveness of the tree. And he just sort of sat there and he cried and he gave thanks. You know, he's just, you know, not giving thanks, but he was angry. He was mad. And out came a fairy that heard his cry. And he couldn't believe his eyes because he didn't really believe in fairies. He thought that was all, you know. But this little fairy came out, and it was a male fairy, and asked, "What is his problem?" And as he was telling his problems, and he, you know, the fairy said, "I can come and I can help. I can bring your daughter back, but you have to do something for us." And the farmer goes, "What do you want?" He goes, "You have to come here and pray every day and give thanks, and not and make sure that this yew tree never goes away." And so he did. He said, "Fine, yes, do that." And the fairy and so the fairy became a man and brought the woman back to health. But what he did is that he told the farmer, "You forgot what the land has to give you. You were going by what man said you had to have on the land, but you didn't go back to what nature has for you for the land and giving thanks to that." And so there was burdock root, nettle, and all kinds of herbs that we sort of call weeds that he used and made soups and stuff and nurtured her back to life. The reason I'm telling you this story is that sometimes we can be in such a way that we don't want to believe, we don't want to pray, we don't want to do that. And we can be so angry that we can go and just cry our woes out to God and to the universe or to whoever. But then something can happen out of that too. It can humble us. It can bring us back to where it says, "Hey, you know what? We're here. We hear you, but you forgot. You forgot about us. You forgot about what is being given to you." And through it, through this all, I feel like, you know, and what the astrology is trying to show us is that we have to come back to a connection to ourselves, a connection to the earth, and to know that we might be worried where our next meal comes from. We might be worried about where our rent comes from or where our mortgage payment comes from. We might be worried about how to fill our car up with gas. But when we sit back and we look at it, and we're like, "Oh my goodness, it always works out. Something always happens. I'm being watched over. How can I give thanks and a reconnection?" Because there's a thanklessness that is there when we work with the divine. And it's for us to start doing that. And Saturn in Pisces, as much of an asshole he is, he's not a father loving person. He isn't. He is the one that comes in and says, "This is what needs to be done, and this is how we need to do it. If you want to live a better life and start to create something better for yourself in something that is disruptive, in a society that wants to put an Oscar on the stage and idolize it like it is a god, then we know we lost our way. But it's only through you and your light can be the direction for others to come back in whatever way that is and however you see it fit. And you have to go by your heart and in your direction. And that's the biggest part. We're seeing the dismantlement of so much around us. We're seeing the dismantlement of things that no longer work. And that's part of what Pluto in Aquarius is. It shows you and it gets us to really think of what are our origins? What are our connections? How can we reconnect with that so that we can bring in the harmony and the peace and the love and the joy in and around us? But we got to find it in the chaos and the craziness and the remembrance of who we are and where we came from. Remember, we're all children of the stars. We have stardust in our DNA. There's a connection there. So allow ourselves to come back to that connection. and that understanding and that devotion that we need to start creating for ourselves and for those around us and above, because we're seeing so much dismantlement and unshakiness. And in that, we need to find that steady pace through it. And in that, it's going to help us to give the armor that we need and the dedication and the prosperity and the abundance to come forth for us. There you go. Funny, I didn't know what I was going to say today. Never. A lot of times I don't know what the hell I'm going to say. It just sort of pops out on what's going to happen. So, and it could, as beautiful as what, with Dana saying her remark, and I'm like, oh, okay, well then let's look at his chart and how that can, lead to so many things, right? In so many different ways. Yeah. So I'm using the fairy tarot cards. Oh, got 2 cards that just flew out. So what do we have? We have the 10 of Swords reversed. So you think it's done, it's not done. The 10 of Swords above, you want the 10 of Swords upright. When it's reversed, that means that there's still difficulties that are there. There are things that are unresolved. That means that we are not really truly connecting with what it is that we're wanting to connect with. So there is a disconnect when it is, being reversed. But the Strength card came out and saying that you do have the inner strength and the courage to do it, what you want to do. You just have to really start to realign with yourself and with that of your source, so that you are able to grab hold of the strength. It's there. The strength is there. You can overcome the challenges. There's kindness and there's forgiveness in all that we say and all that we be and all that we do. But the biggest forgiveness that you have to do is the forgiveness of self. Because when you can forgive yourself, you can forgive others. And when you can do that, that means that you are not staying within that vibration anymore. You can't change the past. The past is what the past is. But you can go forward. You don't have to stay within that energy and dwell in it and saying, oh, well, this happened before and this happened before. Well, it doesn't mean it's going to happen again. So we can step forward in that courageousness. And in doing so, we bring forth, differences. That means a lot of things that we do, there's going to be a differences in opinions. There's going to be a differences in what people like and don't like. So not everybody's going to like what you're going to do. And that could be a halter. That could be something, maybe, and I'll throw this out, maybe because there are people out there that are thinking, well, I want to go back to church. Then go back to church. Some people want to start their own community and start their own connections or women's circle. Start your own connection in women's circle. Don't start worrying about the opposing views, because they're going to be out there. Not everybody's going to like what you're going to do. Or you might think, well, I downed it for so long, or I said this wasn't good, or whatever. But that's why, that's, where we're finding a disconnect. It's like, no, I need to start connecting. I need to reconnect with that of what I feel that beauty is. For some, it's just, for me, what I love to do, and I mentioned that to a friend and a client yesterday, is that I love to go sit in churches. Just to sit in the back of the church. Like there's the United Knox Church downtown Calgary, and it has the labyrinth where it's opened at certain times and you could just go walk the labyrinth. Absolutely, is just sort of a mind. I just love it. And then sometimes the cathedral's open. And I will go and sit in the back of the cathedral. And they have a shrine to the Virgin Mary. And I love to go in there because it's you could feel the energy of the true prayers that have been said. So you could go into these different places. And there's a Buddhist temple too. That's another one that I like to go into, because it's just like just feeling the different energies, right? But there is a sense of reverence that's within them. So sometimes that's what you need. You need to go into these places that are sacred and that are considered sacred. Don't worry about the dogma. Put the dogma aside, because the dogma has nothing to you has nothing to do with you and your divine. Nothing. Whatever you do is between you and your source. Nobody else. Nobody else. So whatever dogma, whatever bullshit that's around, whatever, it's like I'm putting that aside. That's my connection. Final card. The Prince of Waters. The Princess of Water. So that means it's going to be an emotional experience. There's a lot of emotion. It's like the page of waters. So there's a lot of emotion that comes. There's a lot of information that comes forward as we do this. And sometimes it can be extremely overwhelming and it can be a lot. So we have to remember that we do have that strength and that we can embrace how beautiful and wonderful these feelings and emotions that are coming up and not bypass them or dismiss them. Embrace them, because that's going to be where you find your inner strength and courage to go forward in a time that we feel everything is being dismantled and torn apart around us. There you go. So next Tuesday, I am having the spring equinox. If you wish to join me, it is at 7 p.m. Let me know, just DM me and I'll give you the list of the things that you can gather around. It's not expensive. A lot of it you may already have in your home. So just DM me. It's $25 if you like to come. If you cannot afford the $25, come anyways. I'm not going to stop somebody and say no, you can't come because you can't afford it. Not for spring. It is online, so I'll be doing this online. So have a blessed one, everyone. May the Lord and Lady watch over and bless each and every one of you in all you say and all you be and all you do. Sending out special blessings to Dana, who's very sick. So keep Dana in your prayers today. Send her the healing that she needs today. And for Mateus has been very sick too as well. Send him lots of blessings and healings his way. Little guy, he just doesn't like being sick. Oh, that's a whole nother thing, but send him out some blessings there too as well. Have a great one, everybody, and we will talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Hold on. What's that? No more. Oh God, no more emotions, please. Sorry, Erica. Have a blessed one, everyone. Bye.